Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of All the Mods Gravitas, and today I want to automate a bunch of things. Now on the last episode we started to work on blood magic, and I did a little bit more of blood magic. I'll show that in a second, but I came to the realization that I just got storage, right? I just got my applied energistics storage, but it keeps getting full very quickly because of the types. So I decided I want to make an automation to make me these drives, so I can basically expand as much as I want. So I want to automate that today. I also am doing a bunch of lignite into coke because I'm gonna do a bunch of steel, and these electrodes are nearly gone, so I can use these ones because I'm gonna make a bunch of steel, which means I probably have to repurpose the excavator to give me iron, so we can then repurpose iron into steel. I also decided to just void the kerosene here. This one, yeah, the kerosene, which basically is making me have tons and tons of sulfurized diesel, like tons and tons of diesel. Like, it's being slowly used over here because it's been, well, the excavator is using that. But we still have like 200 buckets of oil, which means this guy is just constantly working. We can still have a bunch of refined fuel, not gonna lie. So yeah, this side is all working, but I want to make a cooker over here and start using this bitumen, turn it into petcoke because it's gonna make me more sulfurized diesel, which then we can just repurpose into here, or maybe made another high pressure refinery unit, maybe, and then put them all into this. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about this. We have a bunch of sulfur. We can turn it into normal sulfur if you want to, which then really doesn't help with anything. I guess if you wanted this rubber, but we don't really need this rubber, so I gotta figure out a way of using this. We could make gunpowder with saltpeter and charcoal, but that's not really great. So yeah, we have this roof, which I'm going to turn into an automation area. I want to automate a bunch of things, and I also like have this MV accumulator, though. Yeah, the texture, I guess, is a little bit buggy. It looks fine in your hand, but when you place it, well, it just looks like this. The fluid pump over there has the same issue. I don't know if you can quite see that over there, but it kind of has the same issue, so I don't know what's happening there. But it is working, so I'm not really gonna complain. Yeah, you can probably see I have a new axe, yeah, which is the giant slaying sentient axe of the executioner, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good axe, though he was super slow, so I actually put him on 2 attack speed gems, so he's now kind of fast, like hitting, and he does a bunch of damage. Like, it's not super fast, but it is decently fast. And if we go over here to the blood magic area, I already made access to the endless realm. I already explored it because I was looking for the next part of this thing. And if we open up the map, I went all the way to here. Let's see if I can go back there again. Yeah, so on these rooms, like this one in particular, I started to find demonite, which is actually going to allow us to reach the tier 5. And I also made a little bit of a change on the game's code. I went ahead and removed the code, the line of code that actually was putting in into the game the cut emeralds on the chest loot. And I did that for a reason. I feel like if we have access to villagers, we should like have access to the villagers, right? Yeah, this is what I mean, like finding demonite. Yeah, so we can use the fortune pickaxe, or we can use the laser to just silk touch it. And I did that for a reason. I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually have, though I should pick this one up though. Don't know if I'm gonna have any here. I think I already pretty much cleaned it all from most of the chests. But the reason I did it is so we could actually trade with the villagers on the moon. And I know it's not ideal. Ideally, their trades would be fixed. But since, well, they weren't like touched in the latest update, and it's probably going to take a while for the next one, I decided to just go ahead and make that change myself. So it's not super OP because I do need to come into here and I do need to search these chests like what I'm doing right now to actually get emeralds to be able to trade with them. So I need to basically run around this dungeon. Like, this is endless, so it keeps always expanding, but I need to run around in here, try to getting loot, and then I can trade with them. Yeah, if you want to take a look at what this basically is like, with this axe I do a lot of damage. My sword was dealing next to no damage, and if you take a look here, I heard TNT. I'm running out. Yep, okay, I should have been aware of that. But yeah, with my armor giving me strength and just critting on these guys, I nearly one-shot most of them. And when they're low on HP, I just execute them with the axe's passive. So this axe is really great in terms of farming mobs here. Yeah, you can see barely, like, they only take like 2 hits or something. And of course, farming these chests will allow us to find netherite scrap, and that's pretty good because we need a little bit of netherite so we can make our armor or spacesuit armor a little bit stronger. And you can see I left all the other ores untouched. Like raw iron is you're meant to find here, so like cut diamonds you're also meant to find in here. So I only messed with the emerald ones, so we could actually get something from exploring these areas. Oh yeah, and on that tower I actually found the demon crucibles and demon crystallizers. They can be used to do something. I just really don't know what they can do. Yeah, and we can just cook these scrap sands and it will actually give us, well, Hellforge ingots and netherite scrap. Now, netherite scrap we'll later be using to possibly make some better runes. But right now, I need the netherite ingots to most likely upgrade my armor or either an emerald mesh into a netherite mesh. And why would I want to do this? Because this is basically going to increase my chances when I get to Venus to get all of these things: rich bismuthite, rich garnerite, like basically all the ores but on rich. So that's pretty good. Now, over on the last episode, I actually told you guys that we were gonna use blood magic to make ways of actually transporting and inputting and outputting items. And yes, that's exactly what I need right now. So let's go over here into this forge. I'm going to use my Tartaric gem. I'm going to input all of this: glass, deep slate, redstone, and glowstone dust. This will give us routing nodes. Now, these routing nodes, they can be turned into inputting routing nodes, outputting routing nodes, and master routing nodes, but these take in views. I gotta really see exactly how they work still, but I just know I'm gonna need a bunch of these. And there we go, we have a master routing node. Now we also need to do, well, a node router. Yes, and I also will be turning 12 of the normal routing nodes into 12 inputs, 12 outputs, and then we have 8 normals. So, and here we are. And what is most likely going to be my inscriber setup. So I'm actually now able to use these input and output routing nodes, and they're kind of a bit weird in how they function. You gotta think, like, they create a network of its own. So for example, if we were to have like these ingots here and these ingots here, the network is what's in the middle, like a channel. So I gotta input items into my network and then output into the network. So it's complicated. Basically what I have is I have this guy as inputting items into the network. So he's inputting Certus quartz, and then I have this guy which is outputting the Certus quartz here, and then the inscriber does its thing, and then it inputs the Certus quartz dust, and then it outputs the Certus quartz dust back into here. It's a little bit complicated. You basically have to think the other way around. You're not outputting from this box, you're inputting from this box into the network. So hopefully this part is a little bit easier. It's not going to be easier. Yeah, it's not going to be easier. I need a redstone furnace right now that's going to cook up some of this Certus quartz. I also need to somehow supply that with sand so it keeps constantly working. And then I have to put some of that Certus quartz back into here so it gets smashed, and then this guy can probably press gold. I think this guy is going to be to press gold, because if you take a look at the recipe for the 1K option, so this guy, I want to automate these guys, and these guys need the logic processors. As you can see, it needs redstone, it needs printed logic circuits, and it needs printed silicon. Now we have the silicon, we have a little bit of silicon already, so we could automate that over here, and we're going to need another inscriber to automate the gold pieces. And then we are going to use this guy, which is going to take a bunch of nodes to automate all the sides, and this guy is going to be the one that's making the logic processors. So I'll actually show you guys how I do this. So first of all, I'm going to use this standard item filter over here, and we're going to add silicon here. So now it has Certus quartz, and it also has silicon. So we can put it back over there. And now we have to go to this output one, which doesn't have anything, and we're going to output silicon. There we go. So the silicon should now start to be outputted into here. Of course, they probably need to be linked up together, which I'm thinking they are not. Now they should be. Yep, there it is. Now we have silicon over here. Now, of course, this still needs power, so I need to hook up that to over here. I'm gonna use a different solution, and I don't want to use these cables anymore. I want to change that up a little bit, and all we have to do is go over here, and we need to add this, the printed silicon, as the output recipe, so it knows what's going to be the output or the input into the network. It's complicated, I know. And there we go. As you can see, hopefully everything works just fine. It has the printed silicon. Okay, so it's not yet outputting for some reason, but it's inputting. Why is it not outputting? It should, because it's the same recipe. Or is it busy with this one? Oh, this one's done, so it should be outputting, unless I missed something. Yeah, I did. I forgot to actually tell you. Well, this is where the silicon must go. So now it should realize that at any moment. Or are they linked? They should be linked, yeah. Because you need to tell them here, you need to input printed silicon, and then you need to tell them over here, you also need to output printed silicon. But for some reason it's not. Why? Well, I just realized why. It's because I actually need a different filter. Yeah, you see this one? This one is, it's all good. It's all good, but I need to clear that option from there. Yep, and we gotta put this bit here, but yeah, we need to select this one, the east one, or the right one, and then we need to put another item filter onto him and tell him that the printed silicon comes out. Yep, there he goes. Now it's working. So I actually didn't know about this. It uses two different filters here, so if you use any other direction, you need other filters. This is cool because it allows me to actually select a little bit differently of how things are made. It's a little bit weird as well, because ideally I would only use one here. Well, I guess it just means a little bit more crafting for me. But yeah, slowly but surely we'll have all of this turned into printed silicon. Now we just need to automate this guy over here, which hopefully I can do with using this. I got some recipes here. So of course we're gonna add the input, and we need to input you and you. I'm going to separate them a little bit, just like this. You're gonna input all of those, and we're gonna put you back into here so you start doing your thing. And then of course I completely forgot, we need the output ones to actually have things where we need them to be. So the top one needs to have the printed calculation circuits. The bottom one needs to have the printed silicon, and the redstone goes in the middle, which means probably from the left. And then this guy is going to input the result all the way over onto this one. So I'm starting to understand the limitations of this mod in terms of item routers. Now, I have this guy being inputted. I have this guy being inputted. Of course, it lacks redstone right now, but I can't extract, and I also can't extract. I'm guessing it's because I'm doing too many things at one time, and this little guy is not calculating things like fast enough. So what I'll probably end up doing is making another one of these and have one master for inputs and one master for outputs, because it's not entirely working right now. Okay, it's fixed. It was exactly what I was saying. This guy was having too much issues with me linking too many things into him. So what I did instead was I started to use the normal routing nodes. So all my connections go to a routing node first, and from the routing node into the master routing node. And I have this guy. I'm going to change the layout, by the way, so we're just doing this for testing basically. And this guy is doing me gold now, so I'm going to do a bunch of gold so I can then start inputting these guys into this one. And that's just something I can do right now. So I'm going to give them two options: you either input that one or you input this one. There we go. So hopefully it's actually going to start inputting things into here. Yep, there we go. That's perfect. Which means on the output one, we need to put the output as this, the logic processor as well. And we should now have this nearly fully automated. Now we still need to get rid of this Certus quartz and maybe cook it. I guess we can keep this one because we're going to need it for something else. We just need to supply it with redstone, need to supply it with gold, and we'll hopefully have this working properly. Oh yes, of course, I actually forgot that we also need to tell this guy, well, you actually need to output into here this one. So if we put it over here again, it should actually go ahead and pick everything up. Perfect. Oh yeah, I also made this quite simple automation over here, which is basically farming things for me. And how is this farming things for me? Well, I'm just inputting into here wool yarn, or for example here wool yarn, and these deployers will slowly put it into this loom, and they will slowly and slowly and slowly start actually making me wool or wool cloth. And I got a lot of this because I've been slowly farming from my alpacas and my sheep, and they actually changed some recipes over here. So if we take a look at, for example, this, the tough fabric used to cost 6 of these for 2. Now it's 3 for 3. Now this is an amazing change, as well as these, the wool boots, the wool armor in itself. It's going to be really good for warmth and insulation. But yeah, this thing is a game changer because the tough fabric can make me insulated wires, or can make this strip curtains, which will allow me to actually start using conveyor belts a little bit more. That's also something that I think they changed the recipe for this conveyor belt. No, they haven't changed this yet. This was supposed to give you 2, I think. They haven't changed this for some reason, but I think it was supposed to give you 2. But yeah, this is gonna make me get tough fabric a lot easier. And I'm gonna make maybe this. I'm thinking of making a create windmill to give me some more power, but I think I'll go with lava first. Well guys, I found the key. It only took these many rooms. I was beginning to think there was no key. I literally was beginning to believe that there wasn't a key. You can even look at my inventory, like how many legendary items I've found. Found way too many legendary items. I even took off some of my armor to put some luck to see if that would change anything and maybe get the key. But okay, I got it. I'm gonna lay this here for a second though, because I really want to open up this place, which is right over here, and boom, finally we have access to the mines. Now this is meant to have better loot. Yep, netherite and stuff like that loot. And I'm gonna go deposit all of this and we'll be back. Well, when I say I left a lot of resources behind, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I explored all of that and you can see that I really left a lot of these resources because I was mostly breaking spawners and running. And in case I need anything, I can just go back there and there's no spawner, so it's pretty easy to pick the things up. But since my inventory kept getting full, I decided to, well, let's just keep the legendary items, because they will come in handy later. These guys we can just farm pretty easily, and this is what we actually got from the mines. Now we're gonna get more, but now I need to make more keys, so that's gonna be a little bit, well, later down the line, I guess. But these will actually allow us to improve our normal runes into reinforced runes. These will actually help out a lot, and we got 5, which means we can make 5 of these reinforced runes. Now they do still take ethereal slates. These guys do still cost a lot, so I kind of need to automate this a little bit more. First of all, I'm going to expand it into a tier 5 altar. Then I'm actually going to make the Well of Suffering. I think it should be able to reach up there. It really should be able to reach up there, and hopefully we can just automate this, and then I can make that spawner work on its own, so it's constantly killing the mobs. And now, thanks to the beautiful automation we made up top, we now have this guy with a few upgrades. I have 2 64s up here, then I made a bunch of 1s just so I could get the types, basically, so I could actually store a lot of my storage. And then I have 2 64s back down here at the bottom. Now I'm actually gonna make another disk drive, another one of these ME drives, and put it over here, and that one's gonna be like a bigger version. So hopefully then I can remove most of these, at least the things from these ones. I want to move them into 1Ks and stuff like that. Not necessarily 1Ks, but because they need a little bit more space. But I want to use these 64s to make it 256, and maybe do even a million. Probably a million. A million looks good. And now that we actually have these routers up here working, I need to work on this area. Now that will take a while. That will take a lot of off-camera grinding. But that's exactly what I'm going to do for next episode. On next episode, I want to automate the things that come from my excavator, so we can actually keep it moving from place to place where we need resources to come from. And I want to automate basically all the resources being put into an ender chest, from the ender chest into probably a belt from create, and then into a flux compactor. Now I want to have a flux compactor for every single ore. So if we take a look at, for example, rich, I'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, not this one. I can't actually get it. Yeah, I can't quite get that one. So probably not as many as I think, because also iron can be put into the same one. All the iron can be put into the same one, for example. All the copper can be put into the same one. All the gold... No, gold only has one, right? It's only native gold, I think. Yeah, but copper can be into the same one. So I think it's around like 5 or 6 maximum. And then they all get pressed down by flux compactors. They all probably will be sent into here, into this furnace, or I guess I could just use a redstone furnace. I can probably just use one of the redstone furnace, like pretty beefed up, or maybe even 2 redstone version. Yeah, maybe 2 of those really beefed up, so you can actually compete with this guy, because this guy is fast. Right now he's being like, I'm making more steel because I'm gonna need a bunch of steel. And on the next episode I will also set up the cooker, because we need to transform this into something, you know, and it just transform this to pet coke so we can actually use it. And we're out of oil. Now, one thing that I'll leave you guys with is if I take this guy down and I put a pump jack here, can I still get oil? I'm not so sure. If you know, please let me know down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, guys, see ya in the next one. Bye.